Welcome to your daily stock market summary from MarketSnap. Hey everyone, it's great to have you here for another deep dive into the market action on this January 8th, 2026. We've got a packed day with plenty of twists and turns, from political headlines shaking things up to some standout moves in major indexes and individual stocks. So let's jump right in and unpack what's driving the markets for us long-term investors, while also keeping an eye on those short-term waves. First up, let's talk about the major indexes and how they're shaping the broader market landscape. It was a mixed bag today, with the Dow Jones leading the charge, climbing over 0.5% to finish strong. That's a solid sign of resilience in blue-chip territory. Meanwhile, the S&P 500 just barely eked out a gain, hovering near flat, showing a bit of hesitation after recent highs. On the flip side, the Nasdaq took a hit, dropping close to 0.5%, dragged down by some weakness in big tech names. And for those of us watching smaller companies, the Russell 2000 had a nice pop, up over 1%, hinting at some renewed interest in small-cap growth. For long-term players, this kind of split performance reminds us to stay diversified. Don't put all your eggs in one basket, especially when tech isn't leading the pack. Now, let's zoom out to the bigger picture with some headline news that's got everyone talking. President Trump is making waves again, and markets are feeling the heat. Reports are buzzing about his decision on a Federal Reserve chair pick, which could signal shifts in monetary policy down the road, something we long-term investors need to watch closely for interest rate impacts. Plus, there's a Supreme Court ruling on Trump's tariffs looming this Friday. This could have massive implications for trade and the economy, potentially affecting everything from consumer goods to industrial sectors. And speaking of policy, Trump's comments on defense spending are stirring the pot. He's pushing for a huge budget increase in 2027, while cracking down on dividends and buybacks for defense companies until production ramps up. It's a double-edged sword, and we're seeing that play out in real time with sector moves. Speaking of sectors on the move, let's check out some of the big winners among large-cap stocks today. Defense names are getting a boost from Trump's budget talk, with Lockheed Martin jumping over 4 cents, a clear sign of investor optimism about future contracts. Energy is also in the spotlight, with ExxonMobil climbing nearly 4% as oil supply risks grab attention. And over in consumer goods, companies like Colgate-Palmolive are seeing nice gains, up around 5%, possibly as investors rotate into safer, staple plays amid uncertainty. For us long-term folks, these moves highlight the importance of having exposure to defensive sectors during choppy times, though short-term volatility could offer entry points if you're patient. On the flip side, not everyone's celebrating today. Some large-cap losers are weighing on the market, especially in tech. Cloudflare dropped nearly 8%, and Western Digital fell over 6%, reflecting a broader pullback in tech after a strong run last year. Vertiv Holdings also took a hit, down more than 6%, as profit-taking seems to be kicking in. For long-term investors, these dips might be worth watching. Tech isn't going away as a growth driver, but near-term corrections could be a chance to buy quality names at a discount if fundamentals hold up. Let's pivot to the most active stocks by volume, giving us a sense of where the action is hottest. NVIDIA remains a focal point, despite a slight dip today, as traders continue to debate its AI dominance. Intel also saw heavy trading, though it slipped over 3%, possibly tied to competitive pressures showcased at CES 2026, and Ford Motor Company caught attention with a nearly 5% gain, fueled by optimism around auto sales trends. These high-volume names often reflect short-term sentiment swings, but for us long-termers, they're a reminder to focus on underlying business strength over daily noise. Now, let's spotlight the market movers, those big names driving headlines and price action. Alphabet made waves, overtaking Apple in market cap to become the second most valuable company behind NVIDIA, thanks to AI-driven gains in search and cloud. Amazon also ticked up nearly 2%, showing strength in e-commerce. Tesla and Palantir saw some selling pressure, though, with both down a couple of percentage points. For long-term portfolios, Alphabet's ascent is a nod to the staying power of innovation, something to consider if you're underweight in tech leaders. Shifting gears, let's talk earnings, as we've got some key reports this week that could set the tone for sectors. Constellation Brands reported today, beating expectations despite some softness in beer sales among core consumers, a solid start to 2026, and their stock popped over 4%. Looking ahead, we've got Delta Airlines and TD SYNNEX coming up on Friday, both of which could give us insights into travel demand and tech distribution trends. These reports are critical for gauging economic health, so for us long-term investors, they're less about day-to-day moves and more about spotting durable growth stories.
Get exclusive AI summaries of every earnings call. No more reading hours of transcripts. Access revenue segmentation, 5-year analyst estimates, SWOT analyses, and full financial statements. Plus track upcoming earnings, dividends, and market events with MarketSnap's calendar app. Create a free account at MarketSnap.com
to dive deeper into what these companies are saying about the future. Let's take a quick look at some standout performers over the past week among large caps. SanDisk Corporation soared over 44%, showing incredible momentum in memory tech. Micron Technology also impressed with a 15% gain, riding the AI infrastructure wave. And Intel, despite today's dip, is up nearly 13% over the week, buoyed by new product reveals. These weekly movers can signal emerging trends, something to research further if you're building positions for the long haul. On the other end, some large caps struggled this week. American International Group dropped nearly 10%, reflecting broader financial sector concerns. First Solar also fell over 9%, as renewable energy faces some headwinds. And HDFC Bank slid more than 9%, possibly tied to global banking jitters. For long-term investors, these pullbacks might be noise, but they're worth monitoring if you believe in the underlying stories. Wrapping up with a sector snapshot, healthcare led the pack over the past week, up over 3%, showing strength in a defensive space. Industrials also posted a massive 17% gain, likely tied to policy expectations around infrastructure and defense. Technology, despite today's Nasdaq dip, still gained nearly 4% weekly, proving its resilience. For us focused on the long game, sectors like healthcare and industrials can be steady anchors in uncertain times. On the weaker side, utilities lagged with a 1.6% drop over the week, possibly due to rotation out of safe havens. Consumer defensive stocks also slipped over 1%, and energy was down slightly despite today's gains. These underperformers might not be sexy right now, but for long-term value hunters, they could offer contrarian plays if you've got patience.
MarketSnap brings everything long-term investors use daily into one clean, fast platform. Explore stock financials, SWOT analysis, valuation ratios, 5-year analyst estimates, and our intrinsic value calculator, built with real fundamentals, not hype. All in a layout that's simple to read and ridiculously fast to navigate. And when you want to talk investing, join Nexus, our community where investors share valuations, posts, and stock discussions, all connected directly to the data. Use our stock's intrinsic value calculator to run and save real valuations with no spreadsheets. Share your analysis and valuations with others in the Nexus community. Get daily market summaries in video, audio, and article formats. Track the market with our earnings, dividend, and economics calendar. Our homepage gives you a real-time market overview with interactive heat maps, top market movers, and major index performance at a glance. Track daily performances, discover the most active stocks, and analyze performance across different timeframes, from weekly to yearly trends, and see which industries are leading or lagging. It's free to create an account, with optional access to premium forward-looking data. Try it now at MarketSnap.com and invest with clarity, not noise. That's a wrap for today's stock market summary from MarketSnap. Thanks for tuning in, and make sure to stick with us for daily updates and deep dive SWOT analyses to keep your investment strategy sharp. Whether you're navigating short-term turbulence or building wealth for the long haul, we've got the insights to help. See you tomorrow.